The core shooting in Battlefront might be really accessible, but with X-Wings, Y-Wings, TIE Fighters, AT-ATs, AT-STs and all the other alphabet vehicles, hero characters and numerous buff cards to play with, you're going to need these essential tips for weapon strategies, vehicle use and mode tactics to give you the edge early on. Besides, you're going to be too amazed by the "oh my god, it's Star Wars" to think coherently for at least the first half an hour. First up, we have aim for the weak spot. In Walker Assault, it's tough as hell to take down the AT-ATs. If you're playing as the Rebels, you'll need to wait until the Y-Wings have bombed out their shields, then get underneath the beasts to start blasting their undercarriages. That's where you'll do the most damage in classic weak spot fashion. The best tactic is to get a team shield or have Princess Leia present so you can hide safely while you wait for the Star Car power-ups like Ion Torpedo to recharge. That's the stuff that does the most damage to vehicles. Other explosives like impact grenades are handy too, and whatever lets you cause as much concentrated damage as possible to the underside of the AT-AT is a good start. Use protection. When you play objective modes like Droid Run or Supremacy, the best tactic is to use the personal shield star card while you race in to capture the objective. It's too short-lived to protect you long enough to actually hold it, but the shield will give you enough time to wade in and perform the capture animation. After that, it's up to your buddies to back you up. Watch out for choke points and work together. Know your hero. A hero or villain character can turn the tide of a battle, but only when used appropriately. While Han, Leia and Boba Fett thrive in open areas where their blasters provide enough firepower to quickly deal with oncoming enemies, they can be taken out pretty quickly in tighter areas where grenades and lightsaber swipes are not so easily dodged. Conversely, Luke, Vader and the Emperor are better in enclosed spaces, where they can rush in to melee with sabers or chain lightning between enemies. If you're playing objective-based modes, hero characters are essential for claiming and holding these objectives, so choose wisely. Kill your heroes. What's the best way to kill a hero if you come up against one? Well, homing shots are useful as they let you maintain a safe distance, and they can't be parried by lightsabers. Grenades and thermal detonators work well, and the exploder power-ups will cause plenty of damage too. You can't use ion torpedoes, and killing heroes with vehicles is far harder than it looks. Automated turrets are your friends too, and sneakier players will learn to lure bold enemies into proximity explosives. Swap your power-ups. Don't forget you can switch your power-ups for something better during the battle. Don't settle for substandard or inappropriate kit. Approaching a new token on the battlefield and tapping square or X will replace the power-up in your inventory with something new. However, instead of switching, you can also just use whatever you're carrying and pick up the next item. It probably won't hurt. In fact, if you're carrying a proximity bomb or deployable turret, you may find it scores you a kill long after you've placed it. Spawn on your friends. You've probably realised that there's a button on the respawn screen that lets you join a game right next to your buddy. Tap triangle or Y and it will happen. Aside from being a handy tool for finding your friend on the battlefield, it's also great for working as a team, which is absolutely the way to win in all objective-based modes. 2 blasters are always more powerful than 1, so make it a policy of always spawning on your friend. Don't forget lock-on. If you're flying any vehicle, either in Fighter Squadron or during one of the large-scale multiplayer modes, remember that the left trigger is your lock-on. It's easy to forget or miss, especially if you haven't played the training missions. When you're locked on, it's much easier to shoot down enemies with blaster cannons. Another top tip is you should wait as long as possible to squeeze the trigger for a lock. If you're already on top of your opponent, they won't have time to evade before you've killed them, even if they get a lock-on warning. Fly for freedom. Jump packs are your friend if you want to stay alive longer. While most encounters with enemies will result in a trip to the respawn screen, you're meant to die plenty in Battlefront, don't worry, it isn't really a game for kill streaks. You can evade a chaser or avoid a locked-on homing shot with a quick blast of your jump pack. You can also use it to get into better positions on the battlefield and get into combat much faster than running. Create 4 classes like this sniper class. Battlefront doesn't have classes, but we reckon that this loadout will help you create the ultimate long-range fighter. You'll need a blaster T-21B. For your star cards, you'll want jump pack for reaching high elevated positions more easily, explosive shot for making your hits count, cycler rifle, which is essentially a single-use sniper, and the sharpshooter ability where your headshot kills reduce star card cooldown. Create a vehicle killer class loadout. If you're a grunt, the sight of an AT-ST lumbering into view can be terrifying. Here's how you build a class to take them out. You'll need a blaster SE-14C, The star cards you'll need are Iron Torpedo, which is an anti-vehicle weapon, Thermal Detonator, which causes a decent area of effect damage, Cooling Cell, reduces the cooldown of your other star cards, and Scout Ability, which keeps you off the enemy radar, letting you evade enemies long enough to take down vehicles. Create a standard assault class. Sometimes you just want to be the person who shoots all the enemies and tops the leaderboards. To hell with vehicles, this is the Warrior class. You'll need a Blaster E11, and your star cards should be Barrage, a handy 3-shot grenade launcher, Homing Shot, lock onto any enemy for a 1-shot kill, Scan Pulse, find your enemies faster, and Bounty Hunter ability, get the chance to power up with each kill. And finally, create a short range class. The smaller maps and indoor areas can be particularly lethal. Here's the loadout you'll take for short range in your face combat. A Blaster CA-87, and the star cards Impact Grenade, which explode when they hit an enemy, Flash Grenade, enemies are easier to shoot if they can't see, and Explosive Shot, your blaster becomes even more lethal, and Survivalist ability, which gives quicker health regen. So that's 12 quick but essential tips for getting started in Star Wars Battlefront. Let us know if you have any more in the comments below, and for more Star Wars tips, tricks and exclusives, keep it here on Games Radar Plus.